Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line is tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Reach out to me directly for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. In 2018, FP Journe declared that he was going to fill an existing gap in the current sports watch market, and he filled it with this, the LineSport Chronographe Rattrapante, a timepiece, 44 millimeters in red gold that is 12.2 millimeters thick, 51.7 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and impressively crafted rose gold inside and out. FP Journe makes his dials, his bracelets, his clasps, his cases, and his movements, so this watch is all FP Journe. The timepiece is broad and flat. You can see it would easily slide underneath the dress cuff, and on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it's snug, comfortable, and a good match. I wouldn't, however, wear it on a wrist smaller than 15 centimeters circumference because it is almost 52 millimeters from lug to lug. This is a wonderful piece, though. You could feel the quality of the watch. Now, it's a handsome piece, in my opinion, because of a feature that is no longer prominent at FP Journe. The bumpers, the rubber bumpers on the case and on the bracelet. I like them because A, they offer a tonal contrast with the gold, and B, they really do preserve the finish, and they have since the rubber bumpers first appeared on the first Journe sports watches in 2011. So they do a great job in our experience of preserving finish long term, and that's why I prefer them ultimately over the simple bare case and bare bracelet. Now there's a lovely chiseled profile. You could see it on the lug hoods as well as the case band and the entire bracelet, and this is created using a wobbling electric chisel that effectively creates a frosted pattern such that no two links are exactly alike. You can see removable links are fixed by screws right here. So if you have a screwdriver or a jeweler's toolkit, you can easily size your watch at home. Note the use of ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps. Over time, the gold cannot aggress against and wear down the ceramic, so the tight factory tolerances of the clasp will be retained long-term through many different cycles of use. Running over to the case, you can see it's an integrated look. These have never been like the standard Journe watches, as from the very first LineSport Chronographe Sport back in 2011, Journe used a larger case with an integrated bracelet and lug profile. The case is all frosted, but it does feature a few well-chosen polished accents. There's this circumferential bevel on the case, as well as the outer face of the bezel. The bezel has a ceramic insert. It is a tachymeter for gauging the speed, for example, of a car over a kilometer or a mile, but you can see it is 1,000 meters, so it is going to be a kilometer. This is an interesting use of material by Journe, as ceramic on Journe watches is vanishingly scarce, but it makes the bezel more durable. Now, the watch does look at first glance like some sort of standard start-stop-reset chronograph, and in many regards, push that a little bit harder, that is how it works, but it starts, it stops, and it resets like a mono pusher, because the second trigger is actually the split second trigger. Start, stop, and reset are all actuated through one trigger at 2 o'clock because it is a mono pusher, and this is why it is called monopoussoir. You actually reset and restart every time you cycle the chronograph. But for example, let's say you have two cars around a track and you're trying to gauge whether the distance between them is waxing or waning. Well, car 1 crosses the finish line, and then car 2 crosses the finish line. And what you do is you just keep counting the splits lap after lap to gauge whether the distance between them is waxing or waning. The dial is a lovely anthracite, so it's somewhere between black and gray. It has a frosted finish underneath a minutes track that is printed in a slight off-white, and then you can see inboard of that lovely frosted rose gold Arabic numerals matching frosted biomorphic tapered Journe-style hands. The primary chronograph seconds hand is actually a lovely off-white, and then there's a frosted inner bezel that frames the constant seconds and the chronograph minutes. Fire this back up again. I like watching it. Then you have a double-digit date with a quick-set system, and this is the first time we've had a date on a Journe chronograph since the discontinued octochronograph of the early to mid-2000s. Flip it all over, caliber 1518, 18-karat rose gold, so the bridges and plates of this movement are, in fact, in rose gold. So the watch is very hefty. Impressively, Journe has sized the movement for the case, the mark of a true manufacturer, not sticking a movement existing into a new case, but making a movement for a new case. You can also see there are some handsome flourishes, such as the use of a finger-style terminal drivetrain, so you can see the fourth wheel and the escape wheel have their own separate mini bridges. The chronograph components are all in steel, brushed on their tops, beveled with mirrored anglage on their side, and you can see the Rattrapante trigger at center, so I'll demonstrate that real real quick, you can see the pincer system. There are two separate column wheels. Both have a very crisp action. And then there's a sort of lateral clutch, but it's not a traditional lateral clutch. It's an oscillating pinion, much like on the movement Journe designed with THA for Cartier during the 90s. The oscillating pinion allows you to press, hold, and jump the chronograph into action without a stagger or stumble. Most lateral clutch chronographs will actually jump about a second and a half when you start them. With this oscillating pinion system, though it is a lateral clutch, it doesn't have that problem. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It's adjusted multiply with a free sprung balance for shock resistance. Then you can see the balance itself is immense with a huge amount of inertia, and the manual wind power reserve is 80 hours. So this is a technically proficient and impressive sports complication. 30 meters water resistant, so more of a high and dry sports watch, but an impressive one all the same. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.